Today I'm about to give you guys my fighter of the year. Okay. I've seen, just after Ilia Topuria just knocked out Max Holloway, I've seen tons of tweets talking about, discussing who is the fighter of the year. I mean, when it comes down to it, I think there's two guys. You got Pereira on one end and you got Topuria. There's cases for both guys. I would definitely say, I personally, I will get into my opinion on why I think it is that specific person, but there are great things about both guys, and there's also bad things about both guys, and I want to talk about both of those things. And yeah, man, I'm gonna get right into it. Starting off with candidate one, you got Alex Pereira. Man, this guy has been the yes man for the UFC. He comes in and shows up the superhero for Dana White. And I think that plays a massive, massive factor in deciding this, as well as showing up countless times to fill in and fill in for the biggest fight card of all time on the main event. That's a huge, huge task to do, man. And not only doing that, knocking out three of your opponents, man, finishing three people in 1 year, defending your belt three times. The opponents, that this is where it gets a little bit downhill. The opponents, first of all, you're taking a lot of these fights on short notice. Jamal Hill rushed back into it from an injury. You got Yuri Prohaska kind of coming off the couch, and then you got Khalil Roundtree, who, I mean, like, are we being for real, bro? The dude, like, he's not even good. So it's kind of a little bit shaky there. But when you look at those two guys, you got two belt holders, right? Two former champions in Yuri Prohaska and Jamal Hill. So I think those are his best wins for sure. The Khalil Roundtree is a title defense, but at the end of the day, man, Khalil Roundtree has no pedigree, okay? He's got no resume. He's got nothing good about him. You couldn't even say this guy was ranked in the top 5. You know what I mean? So it's not really a great win, but it is another one that he has, okay? But yeah, man, this dude is stepping in on short notice, and Jamal Hill's rushed back in. Yuri Prohaska's kind of coming off the couch a little bit. So there's some things to look at there, as well as the competition. When it stacks up to the competition of Topuria, man, it's not as good, okay? But, I think when you look at it, man, this dude has built such a large, large fan base, okay? A massive, massive following he has now. We're talking about millions and millions of followers, and one of the biggest stars in the UFC without a doubt, okay? You got guys like stars like Adesanya passed him up, okay? He's passed up every single star in the UFC. He probably, I want to say it's other people, but he is the biggest star in the UFC, and I think that's fair to say. You got Makachev, and I believe he's higher. His activity has really warranted him just making him the top guy of the UFC, the biggest star. It really has. I mean, as well as being so active, his fight style is so fan-friendly. The guy's knocking people out left and right cold. He's got a very fan-friendly style where he's coming forward and he's exchanging and he's, like I said, knocking people out. People love that kind of stuff. So when it comes to Alex Pereira, there's a very strong case. And, personally, I'll let y'all know what I think, who deserves it more. But I think when it comes to Pereira, he's absolutely got a strong case, as do both of these guys. But now I'm about to talk about why Ilia Topuria has a strong case. Mr. Ilia Topuria, has given himself a strong, strong case to win this award as well. Okay, honestly, before this, I was kind of like, man, I feel like Pereira's got it cemented. There's no way he's not going to get it. But now, Ilia Topuria finished Max Holloway. We have seen Max Holloway in the UFC for years, a decade, I believe. Okay, and he's had 30 fights in the promotion. Nobody has even knocked the guy down. Ilia Topuria knocked him out. So when I look at that, I'm automatically thinking this has to be, in the conversation. There's without a doubt, man. If he would have did that shit with one fight, I think it would definitely, be in the not maybe not, but that is extremely impressive. He finished Max Holloway. We've never seen the guy get dropped. He's faced tons of power punchers. Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, Poirier, Jose Aldo, a bunch of guys, man, tons of dangerous fighters. The guy's got an insane resume. Insane. And Ilia Topuria just knocked him out. That absolutely means that it's a case. On top of beating a top 3 featherweight of all time, he knocked out the best featherweight of all time in Alex Volkanovski. He knocked him out cold. Now, the bad thing I want to talk about, okay, that kind of deters from this a little bit. First of all, we're talking about Alexander Volkanovski, who's 35 years old. Okay, the guy's been notoriously chinny a little bit, rushed back from the Makachev head kick loss, and got knocked out by, Ilia Topuria. And, a lot of people saw this kind of coming, man, because he rushed so quickly back into that fight to fight Ilia. And, he got caught with a shot and got knocked out cold. So, it's kind of like, damn, bro, like, it's great that he knocked out the best featherweight of all time, but then you look back at it and it deters a little way. You kind of see through it. You're like, damn, man, it was a great win, but he just got knocked out. He's getting up there in age. And then you go look at the Holloway, who's also getting up there in age a little bit, had to cut from lightweight after bulking up to get to lightweight, had to cut back down to featherweight, and then he got knocked out. So when I look at that, there kind of is some, as with the Pereira, with the competition he's faced and the guys stepping up on short notice, there are some things that set me back a little bit, right? So I think that's important to note as well. But I think it's so impressive that he finished Max Holloway. I mean, like, it was a surreal moment. I never thought the day would come where Max Holloway would get finished. And obviously I did pick Ilia by a third round TKO, which happened, by the way. But I never thought I'd see the guy go down. He's eaten so the big shots, and I'm just like, the guy can't get finished, okay? And that's how I was feeling, because in that second round, Topuria was smacking him, man, catching him with some huge shots. But anyways, I think there's a massive case for both guys, but I'm about to give my opinion on who I think should win it and why they should. I really think this is a close, very close argument. And I could absolutely see anybody saying either or, and I would not be disappointed, okay? But I think I'm going to have to give it to Alex Pereira, okay? I think the stepping up on short notice countless times is so important. And, he's finishing these guys, man. The dude has transformed himself into a massive superstar. And I think that's important, man. I really do believe that the stepping up on short notice is the most important thing. The dude has been there for the UFC 3 times in a row. They need a main event. He's the guy you call, and he steps up. And especially on the biggest card of all time, he steps up. I think it's super important. And I think, the performances back it up, man. 3 KOs, defended his belt 3 times. I think, when you really look at it, you got to give it to Pereira. And I think Ilia absolutely has a very, very close case. And I think, when you give it a deep look, you're going to kind of see that Pereira kind of deserves a little bit more. And that's what I kind of came down to. Ilia knocking out 2 of the best top 5 featherweights of all time is so impressive. And I'm not taking anything away from him. He is without a doubt number 2. And honestly, if they gave it to 2 people, I wouldn't be upset, because I think both guys equally deserve it, or almost equally deserve it. But if I had to choose someone, I would go with Pereira, due to the fact that he has stepped up so many times. He has, become a massive star. He's finishing all these fights. People absolutely love the guy. And I think that's important. Yeah, man, I hope y'all boys enjoyed. And let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one.